All right, people, we're live. This is what I've been looking forward to for a while. We did top 10 movies. We did top 10 TV shows. Now, with all the nominations that have been announced, we got SAGs, we got BAFTAs, we got Critics' Choice and Golden Globes out of the way. Now, the Oscars, they're incoming. This is our Super Bowl time, people. I have assembled possibly one of the best panels that I ever have in years. My three biggest Oscar fiends, probably three of the biggest movie nerds that I know. We got Dustin the Duster Mason, we got Kristen, a.k.a. Miss Flamingo, and we got Nathaniel Ahard. Guys, are we ready to predict some Oscar nominees?
Hell's yeah, man.
Yes.
Please.
All of that and more on tonight's episode of the Talkin TV podcast. This is going to be a big one. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we are here. It is time. Like I said, this is always one of the times that I look forward to the most, right? It is always completely coincidental that the time that the nominations get dropped is always like right around when the Super Bowl is going to happen. I always jokingly refer to, right? We already know, right? Everybody kind of already knows. Everyone's like, oh, who cares about the Oscars? Who actually still watch the Oscars? We do. It's a thing for us. It's a thing for us movie fans. This is the shit this is why we watch every fucking movie every single goddamn weekend for the year, so that we can tally them together, so that we can feel validated for doing what it is that we do. Before we get started, I just wanted to get each of your guys' individual thoughts on how we're feeling about the nomination this year for what I would argue and I would still say is probably the best movie year that we've had so far of the 2020s. After the year of no movies, the year where everything went to streaming, and the year with like 5 movies total. So I'm going to start with Dustin, my go-to guy. What are you thinking about this year's lineup of what's going to potentially get nominated?
Like you were saying before we just came on air, like what we're about to talk about, like the people that we're talking about, it's pretty set in stone, no pun intended, for a lot of these categories. But it's just a lot of it's becoming predictable. Maybe it's because we're older now. We're getting used to like the patterns and the kind of campaigns. But there isn't like an Andrea Riseborough this year, I don't believe. So it's generally pretty tame.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Andrea Riseborough one is still like, that is one that they just, all the actors decided to get behind, and we're like, yeah, we're going to just get this one up to standards for some reason or another. I don't know. I said that, like, last year's Best Actress is like still really confusing, to say the least. Like, Anna de Armas gets nominated for a movie that is all but largely shunned by the Oscars, which still makes absolutely no sense to me. Right. Kristen, what are you thinking about this year's nominees as far as what's getting nominated and any potential upsets?
Oh, the scandal last year of Andrea Riseborough. Can't forget that. Oh my
yeah, right,
God.
Right.
That was a thing. I forgot about that. But I agree. I think this is the year where we have the usual suspects with the big movie, plus a couple of the indie sprinkles that have, showed up this past year. So I'm not expecting any major surprises. Like, I'm not expecting to see like the Marvels get nominated out of nowhere. Like some crazy wild.
That shit doesn't even get nominated for visuals.
No. No, I'm not like, I think we're going to be talking about the basic stuff like Oppenheimer, Barbie, all the basic stuff.
Right. Poor Things, Kills of the Flower Moon, all the above. Oh man, it does kill me though that May December is not getting a Best Picture nomination, which fucking sucks. But whatever. The Oscars hate movies that make fun of the institutions that they're bullshit institutions. So whatever. Nathaniel,
likely.
Exactly. Nathaniel, your thoughts on this year's lineup of nominees?
Well, first, I have to agree with you. 2023 was an incredible year for movies. Like, I still have yet to put my top 10 together. I'm waiting for the Oscars to reveal that. But this is legitimately the hardest time I've been, putting a list together since like 2017.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy in that sense. But as far as nominations go, yeah, I agree with you all. It's pretty easy to predict, but I do think that this is one of the deepest and most competitive field, and one of the best fields we've had in a long time, specifically with the acting, specifically with Best Actress. But I'm sure we'll get into that once we get around to that category. But I'm really excited. I'm not going to agree on everything, but there's a lot that I will love. I know come Oscar nominations morning on Tuesday. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about what we think is going to get picked.
Yes, absolutely. What I will say about this year is that, again, while a predictable set of nominations for sure, that comes from the fact that, like I said, we have, all of us have been doing this for a very long time. We've been keeping track of the Oscars for a very long time. Most of us for close, pretty much all of us for close to a decade now. And the one thing that I can say is that I think that it's a combination of, the fact that we got a lot of, I would say, movie stars back in the race. There's a lot of like big name actors that are up for a lot of awards this year. It feels probably the closest to like a regular Oscars that it has in a very long time. I feel like the last couple of years, just it was more so like picking, the pick of the litter as far as what's available. Like the fact that Top Gun 2 and Avatar: The Way of Water were both Best Picture nominees last year should tell you like kind of what the state of movies has been like for the last couple of years. But I think this is probably like the closest to like what we would expect as being a regular Oscar year, which is that like for the first time in a long time, it felt like the biggest movies of the year, with the exception of a few, were like the best movies of the year. And like there's a reason why, for the most part, kind of almost all the blockbusters of this past year flopped. And all of like the movies that were actually like made with some good artistic intent without being like blatant message movies are being widely recognized. And the fact that, like I said, we had like the cream of the crop, like damn near almost every single critically acclaimed filmmaker that we've been following for the last 20 years released a movie in the year 2023. Like there were very few filmmakers who did not release a movie this year, and it's going to show. So now let's get into it. So basically the way this is going to work. So we're not doing couple categories that we're not doing this year. We're not doing the screenplay categories, and we're not doing visual effects this year. We're going to do animated feature. We're doing the 4 acting categories, directing, and picture. And how this is going to work. So there's only 4 of us this year. So what we're going to do is we're each going to go roundtable style. We're each going to list off one of our nominees for each category, and then we're going to all collectively vote on the 5th choice, and that will be our selection as far as who our nominees are going to be. And we're going to start it off. We're just going to dive right into it with probably the most controversial, one of the more controversial ones, supporting actor, the one that usually winds up being probably one of the best categories of the last couple. Again, this is a category that's delivered us the likes of, again, just go back to the 2000 alone. Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men, Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight, Christoph Waltz, Inglourious Basterds, followed closely by Christian Bale, for The Fighter, obviously long deserved. There's a ton more that are in there as well that I'm sure Dustin will be able to list off for me instantly. But so this one's an interesting one because I feel like up until the SAG nominations were announced, a lot of people had a pretty good idea of who the 5 were going to be for this category. And ever since the SAGs and the BAFTAs were announced, I feel that's kind of gotten thrown up in the air a little bit. But I'm going to kick off this category by putting in the one who I am just saying, for me, is the surefire to win the Oscar, and that's Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. It's funny, I was talking about this with Kristen before we got started. And the thing about this performance is that it's not even close to being one of Downey's best. This is probably a hot take. I personally don't think this is one of the absolute best performances of the year. It's certainly up there. But the thing about it is it almost sort of fits into the It's His Time award. But I think it is so much more than that, because seeing Downey on the campaign trail this year has just reminded us, like, he's kind of reminding us, like, what a force, what a presence he is, both as a movie star and as an actor. Christopher Nolan even said that, like, there is an entire generation of kids that grew up seeing how awesome Downey was as a movie star, but now this is finally their chance to see him as an actor, which we really haven't seen Downey as an actor for a really, really long time. So I feel like when they award this to him, and I'm saying when right now, when they present this award to him on Oscars night in about 2 months from now, that's going to be what they're rewarding. They're rewarding him like coming back and showing that he is still an actor and that he didn't just cash out after basically running the 2010s as Iron Man. So going over to Dustin next, who is your choice for supporting?
I'm going to throw a little wrench into it already. Charles Melton. And I know he might be on the outskirts right now currently because of the whole BAFTA snub and SAG snub, but he's been in the conversation this whole award season, and it's one of the most gripping and best breakthrough performances of the year. And it would be really a shame if they missed out on him. And I hate to make this about race, but the Academy's been making it about race, but they need some, POCs in there, and that's a perfect performance to highlight,
Yeah. Also, one of the very few performances that is a POC performance that does not rely on
No.
said color,
Yeah.
which I think is
Absolutely not.
amazing.
Mhm.
Which I think is amazing, because in
And-
previous
yeah.
years, that's all that it would have been about. And it's the fact that they don't reference the fact that he's Asian once in the movie is
Mhm.
incredible to me. So, all right, excellent choice. Like I said, I have said before that Melton is one of my favorite performances of the year. All right, Kristen, going now to you. What is your choice?
I love the I almost said De Niro. Oh my god, I was just saying this earlier as we were talking about it. Downey as the nominee. I love seeing that. Melton. I know I'm very surprised him not getting a SAG, because that was like a surefire entry for that, because he's the best part of May and December, honestly, in my opinion.
100%.
I agree.
And then based on my note taking, based on it, I'm going to say Ryan Gosling for Barbie.
Yep.
I think that is the best bet we have going right now, even though he didn't win Golden Globe. It was he was pretty sure a lock-in, but knowing it went to Downey, I was very surprised by that. I think even though Downey was just absolutely deserving of it.
It's confusing too, because Ryan Gosling was nominated for supporting, but every other year the Golden Globes would nominate him in lead comedy.
And
it's ridiculous.
And it's amazing to me because he's come such a long way with comedy over the years, from doing The Nice Guys, which is an unbelievable underrated performance of all time from his career. This just shows the greatness, how good he is with comedy, and we're going to see that later on this year with The Fall Guy. But for now, I think Ryan Gosling has a front running chance. Will he win? Maybe. But I know he's just one of the safe bets to nominate.
Yeah. All right. And Nathaniel, your choice.
All I gotta say, yeah, Mark Ruffalo. I absolutely think, despite the fact that he missed SAG and BAFTA for some inexplicable reason, one of the reasons I don't care about the BAFTAs too much, I think that this might be my favorite supporting male performance of the year. I think this is the comedic performance to hold up against in the years to come. I think Mark Ruffalo is a revelation in this movie. I did not know he could be this funny. And I've seen Poor Things twice, and both times he was just making me laugh my ass off the whole time. But he plays charming so well, but also so pitiful at the same time, and just to see his transformation and comedic timing throughout the rest of the film is absolutely incredible. I still don't think he's going to miss the Oscar nomination. And I think if at least one actor from Poor Things is getting nominated, it's Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, it was funny because Dom and I were talking about this, and definitely to add on to that, it was going to be him or Willem Dafoe get that lock nomination. But I want to add on and say Mark Ruffalo is one of the best parts of that film. As someone who read the book to Poor Things, he did such an amazing job bringing that character to life, and that's the almost common out of the ordinary plunks.
It's the most transformative that he's ever been in a movie.
Most against type,
most against type,
so
most transformative, most chameleonic.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was capable of giving that kind of a performance. And I already loved Ruffalo as an actor to begin with. But it's the fact that we forget that Ruffalo got his start in rom-coms. And even though this movie is not even close to remotely resembling a rom-com,
no, it's not.
The fact that he is able to kind of bring all those cartoonish sensibilities, where he's basically played for lack of a better word, he's playing a Wes Anderson character in this movie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Can I comment? I love this performance, and to me, it is kind of like a mix between a Wes Anderson character and the Kevin Kline character from A Fish Called Wanda.
Exactly. That's the other one. Such a great comparison. Who did win the Oscar? Yes, exactly.
In a much weaker race, to be fair, but at the same time, I was thinking earlier in the race that maybe Ruffalo could be the surprise favorite in the award season, and I was thinking Gosling has, I was telling Dominic this a couple weeks ago on the show. I think, just to reiterate, everyone was talking about that Ryan Gosling performance, so I really thought, it's going to be his third nomination. Everyone talks about this performance. He might end up being the winner, but Downey Jr. has just been the late sweeper as of late. So.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this should tell you that I put together like the best fucking panel possible when it comes to predicting this stuff. So now, like I said, the one that I've really been looking forward to, the fifth choice. So we got a couple different options here. We obviously the big glaring one is Robert De Niro, who obviously, despite the fact that he's been nominated a ton of times, and I would say is a surefire lock. He hasn't missed a single nomination at this point. We have Willem Dafoe, obviously, as the potential second choice. We have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, who got the SAG nomination. Then we also have two surprise BAFTA nominations that I don't think anybody was expecting would get in. That being Paul Mescal for All of Us Strangers and Jacob Elordi for Saltburn. So those are who I'm going to say are like our potentials for this.
And Dominic Sessa.
And Dominic Sessa, exactly, who got the BAFTA nomination.
Right.
Too. Exactly.
Can I give a quick shout out to my favorite supporting performance of the year? And if the Academy's they're not cool enough to nominate this performance, but I just have to congratulate IFC for doing a better campaign for Glenn Howerton for Blackberry than A24 did for James Franco and Spring Breakers. So it's just like the fact that he got like a good number of nominations.
Right. Like he's got a lot of nominations actually going forward.
That was awesome. And if he was the fifth slot this year, it will never happen. That would be the greatest thing ever.
Yes, that is
I'm not sure if he's nominated for Film Spirit because I've seen the film. He is. Okay, because I know it was been nominated. I just forgot which category it was. Mm-hmm. I have yet to watch that one. So I gotta watch it.
Good.
It's
and
really
just
good.
to add, it's a really good film, and he's really great in it. But to add my 6 cents real quick, I have to mention Milo Machado Grenade from Anatomy of a Fall. Because it's up to me, he'd be sure.
Won't be nominated,
if not winning.
1,000% one of my favorite supporting performances of the year. Did
really
not see that one
up there with Ruffalo. They're tied for
absolutely. That kid was fucking phenomenal. So with that being said, who we thinking for our fifth slot?
De Niro.
Yeah.
De Niro. De Niro was a safe one.
It's got to be De Niro.
Can I just put in like one other thing?
Might be
I was just gonna say that because he got the SAG, and I've seen American Fiction. I think he is very good, but I think not nominated worthy. I know he can do better. I think he can do.
Right, that is true. True.
I know he can do better in other films, but he is very, very good in that film.
Not to mention the fact that he is probably like of like all the people that like are being considered for that movie. He is like the funniest part of that movie.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. Like he's fucking hilarious. Like the scene where he's with the guy and is just huffing coke off the counter was that was great. All right, people. So with that,
where are you going?
So with that being said, our 5 for supporting actor are, to no one's surprise, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Charles Melton for May December, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things, and Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. All right, now going on to supporting actress. This is one where this is an interesting category. We have 3 surefire locks with this category, and the last 2 I would say are kind of up in the air. I was convinced that Jodie Foster was going to get nominated for Nyad, but there have been a couple of other surprise nominations that have been sneaking in there that I will admit that I was not expecting. You know, the first one being that Claire Foy got her first nomination so far for All of Us Strangers, which has been like sort of kind of peeking into the conversation. I still don't know how good that movie's chances are. But so, Dustin, we're going to slide over to you. You'll go first this time. Who is your first choice for supporting actress?
Well, we all know who the front runner is, but I really hope that, again, they don't fucking forget about Julianne Moore in May, December. That's one of the best performances by a supporting actress this year, if not the best. And it's like one of her best performances too. I know it doesn't sound like that saying, but like Julianne Moore is like such a terrific actress and just has a great body of work to begin with. But this being one of her very best performances shows like maybe they gave her the Oscar a little too quickly for Still Alice, because in any other year this would be somebody else's like second Oscar or like first Oscar.
Right. Yeah.
I want to keep her out of the conversation.
I mean, I still think that they fucked up by not giving it to her for Boogie Nights originally back in 97.
Absolutely.
Over Kim.
I agree.
And as much as I love LA Confidential, Kim Basinger in that movie, what the hell were they thinking? Get out of here with that one.
Pamela Anderson could have won the Oscar for that.
But right?
Pamela Anderson was like in talks to be but she blew the audition as covered in.
That's incredible.
Maybe she couldn't.
Or maybe she blew the audition in the wrong way possible. All right, going over to Kristen. Going over to Kristen. Who is your insert choice?
All right away with my insert choice. A movie I just saw this past week and I didn't get to see sooner. But Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers is,
Yep.
oh my God, out of all the supporting, I see why she's been winning. And winning is the best word for this actress because she just was phenomenal in that film. I think even better than Paul Giamatti, better than Dominic Sisa. I think she is so beautifully talented in that film. And because I was looking at her film work and I was like, oh, she was in Lost City with, Sandra Bullock, and she's just come Office Christmas Party. Like, she's come a long way with her comedy career. This is just something totally so different that's out of her element, and she knocks it out of the park. And I would love to see her win.
Yeah, agreed. I think that she is going to win. I think this is another surefire hit that she's going to win this.
The only surefire lock of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, like the fact that
she's the Octavia Spencer of this year.
Yeah, but
definitely.
Even more than the Octavia Spencer role, I would say that what's so special about her performance is the fact that is largely a tragic character, but her arc is all about moving on and not making it tragic with defining character trait. Again, this is to me one of the reasons why I love 2023 as a year is it's all about defying so many of, I would say, the terrible movie expectations that have been set in place by the last couple of years before us, where we have all of these parts and performances that in any other year would be like really generic and really typecast and really boring. But because of the types of performers that we have in there, and because of the types of creatives that are handling them, they are just, again, breaking against all expectations. And this, I think, is like the poster child for that. Nathaniel, who's your choice?
So I know Divine Joy Randolph is obviously winning, and I think she's deserving at the very least and absolutely fantastic in The Holdovers. But I think that the best supporting performance from anybody I've seen this year, and I don't know if I'm the only one who has seen this, but she is one of the locks that you mentioned, and that is Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple. Even going back to the Spielberg film, I think it is the best performance in any of the Color Purple movies. Like, the second she comes onto the screen, she explodes with this energy and confidence, but yet again, so much emotional depth. Like, there's one scene in particular near the middle to beginning of third act of this film, which is literally some of the most incredible, just articulated acting I've ever seen from an emotional standpoint. And it brought me to tears the first time I saw it. If you've seen the movie, you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, I think if there was any justice in the world, she deserves to win. But I'm okay with her just being nominated at this point because I'm happy for Divine. But she's absolutely more than deserving of a nomination. I think she's going to get in for sure.
She was my favorite part of the recent remake. She has, I think, the best song selection in that film. I think her performance is just out of this world with that. Besides, I completely agree with that.
All right. Yeah. So now going over to my choice. I'm not saying Emily Blunt because unfortunately Emily Blunt is the third lock, even though I just disagree with them nominating that performance in general. I think that's not only one of the weaker performances of the year that I think is kind of getting unjustly recognized, but I also think it's like kind of low. I mean, I feel bad for Emily Blunt because I love her. I think Nolan does her such a disservice by giving her kind of a really weak and one-note performance, especially compared to Florence Pugh, who would like
at least the role,
at least compared to Florence Pugh, who in 2 scenes like steals that entire movie. But my choice is going to be an interesting one because I've not seen Nyad, so I'm not nominating it, and I'm also not nominating America Ferrera for
that's fine.
For Barbie.
Fair enough.
My choice is really interesting because in arguably her breakout year, in almost a surefire lock for lead with Anatomy of a Fall, I am saying that Sandra Hüller is going to be the surprise double choice with The Zone of Interest. I'm putting her in because I will say that like the fact that The Zone of Interest, which is such an atypical Oscar movie, I think the only reason why they're nominating it or even considering it is because it surrounds World War II. Because taking the World War II Nazi Holocaust aspect of it aside, this is just such an atypical, typical Oscar movie where you have this like bird's eye viewpoint, fly on the wall day in the life of a Nazi officer in a movie that almost barely even has a plot to begin with. Most of the movie is just you following these people as they go about their daily lives. And like for this type of movie to break through and be up for like serious consideration for picture, for director, for screenplay, and not just the technicals, and for Sandra Hüller to be considered for supporting for this is kind of insane. So for all of those reasons, I'm putting her in. Besides the fact that she's just phenomenal in the movie to begin with, like I said, the fact that this movie is as good as it was, with it having such a tough subject matter to crack, and it being such a different kind of a look and examination for this type of subject matter, which we are, I think, for the most part, largely familiar with because of, just history of film, and, we've all gone through history classes in high school and such. Yeah, that's my choice, Sandra Hüller. Mostly because to me, it would be the most interesting choice for this category, for sure. And then for our fifth spot, I mean, I don't want to do Emily Blunt, but just
Blunt.
she's gonna get the.
I thought I was gonna have.
She's gonna be nominated, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of our picks doesn't get in there and Jodie Foster does because she's another
Jodie Foster
favorite.
Jodie Foster is surely getting in because she's one of the few people who hasn't missed a single nomination up until this point. So
Jodie Foster is great in that movie too.
I think she's better than Annette Bening in that film. I think the movie's okay.
Oh.
I think the movie's okay. I don't love it as a lot of audiences have gone on to love it.
Yeah.
I like
but
it. I didn't
Jodie
love
Foster is the best. I think my favorite part, and actually kept me glued the entire time. So put that one. Or I could see. Then I wrote down just as a question mark because Pike got nominated for Golden Globe.
Rosamund Pike is the other one, right? When Saltburn
Could sneak
What about
in
Claire
there.
Foy? What about
Right.
Claire
Yeah, that's
Foy?
what we said.
Well, they never nominated her before for performance that she was in contention, so I don't think she makes it.
I don't think she's gonna make it. If anything,
But
Pike
she
has
wasn't
a close
nominated.
chance.
She wasn't nominated. Was she nominated for the BAFTA for the movie she was in last, Women Talking? Or whatever?
I'm not sure. I don't
remember Women.
remember.
I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
no one even rememers anymore.
How
Talking
many
in
people remember Women Talking in general?
I do.
Exactly.
Great movie.
I remember they talked.
That's the movie. You get what's advertised.
Yeah, honestly,
Exactly.
it's good, but you get women talking.
Emily
It's
Blunt,
amazing.
because she's never been nominated before, and she's coming.
That's
with
right.
the
I forgot
movie.
this is her first nomination. Yeah, she's
coming
the
with
lock
the
for sure.
movie.
Yeah,
And
so
they
like I
love
said,
her anyway.
for sure,
Yeah.
Divine, Danielle Brooks, and Emily
The
Blunt are the
SAG.
three locks. Julianne Moore, I think, is a solid choice, and then Jodie Foster
I
will
agree.
probably knock out Sandra Hüller. But for right now, our choices: Julianne Moore for May, December, Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers, Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple, Sandra Hüller, The Zone of Interest, and Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. All right, we're gonna take a quick break from this. We're just gonna go over to animated feature real quick, which is always my favorite choice. So, like I said, there's a couple of choices here that again, I think there's 4 choices that are pretty solid locks. But what's interesting though is there's one choice that I did not think was going to get in. And now I think after having gotten a couple of nominations, I think is a surefire lock and is the 4th choice. And Dustin, I already know you're going to pick it for yours. But we're going to go around and start with Kristen. Kristen, what's your first choice for, the real question is who's nominating Spider-Verse first is the real question.
I'm going to say it first because it was the Oscar favorite years ago.
All
So,
right.
won then. So why not seeing the sequel win? I mean, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it's an obvious nominee. Who doesn't love it? I loved it when I saw it. The audiences loved it. Critics loved it. So I would be shocked if it's not.
Yes, absolutely. Also, again, one of the first animated movies in a couple years that is getting serious consideration for Best Picture, serious consideration. And it would be fucking incredible if this ends up being the first animated movie since Toy Story 3 that, ironically, that would get a Best Picture nomination in addition to
I don't
animated
think
feature.
it'll get it this year, but I think the next one
Beyond the
definitely
Spider-Verse.
will.
They would have
might
to
honor
be
it,
serious
yeah.
crazy
Will-
shit. Yeah, that would be cool.
Will conclude
That would be cool.
our
The
story.
glory.
I think that
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
from now, but I don't. Maybe, but I don't. Next one definitely is their spark.
Yes, obviously. All right,
I hope
Nathaniel. Is it Miyazaki? Is it Miyazaki?
Yes, it
You know,
is.
Of course
The
it
Boy
is.
and the
Of course it
Heron.
is.
The Boy and the
I gotta
Heron,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Miyazaki, man. I've watched this movie 3 times now. Second time I was falling
I
asleep.
still gotta watch it. I still gotta watch it
I gotta
again.
watch it too.
I gotta watch. Yeah.
Wow. No, this really is, I think, deserving of being called one of his best. But then again, it's Miyazaki, and he's never missed yet. So why would we expect anything less? But this is such a beautiful film. It's certainly one that I've grown to appreciate every time I watch it in new ways. And I just think, it's very personal. And obviously the fact that this is his last movie. I don't think so. I think he might do one more.
He
Considering
says
all
that
the talk
all
we've
the
heard.
time.
Yeah,
though.
and I think
he says it all
he
the
said.
time.
Yeah, I
He
was about to
says
say,
he's
I don't get
cooking,
why people
you
said
know?
that, like, oh, this is his most personal movie. I'm like, have they
It's not his most
forgotten
personal, but it is very personal. I think especially with the setting and it's like a great cross between The Wind Rises and Spirited Away, and that can never be a bad combination. It's very abstract in all the best ways. It won the Golden Globe, which was a shock. I don't think that's going to be repeated at the Oscars, but this is easily right up there with Spider-Verse, the two for sure locks that no one will dispute.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm throwing in the third lock because I would never dare take away from Dustin his favorite movie of 2023. I'll go the Pixar choice. I'll go the Pixar insert Elemental. Is this the best Pixar movie that's come out in recent years? No. Is this even close to being remotely close to Pixar when it was at its best? No. But they need to do a Disney insert every year. So naturally this is going to be it this year because their options this year for Disney were this movie or Wish. And so naturally I think they knew which one they were going to go for. But yeah, Elemental, here's what I'll say about this movie. I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is. I actually do think that it is a little bit deeper about like what it's saying about romance. And I would say that at its worst, it's a silly rom-com, but it knows what it's doing and wears its influences very heavily on its sleeves. And like the characters I actually don't hate, which is more than I can say for fucking Turning Red and that bullshit Lightyear. So is this a return to Pixar's form? No, but they have to do a Disney insert every year to appease them. So it's gonna be it's gonna be Elemental. All right, Dustin, bring it in. What's your choice?
It's Migration. No, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Got the DVD.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a insert.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the best movie of last year. I'm a 12-year-old. I'm sorry. It's like, it deserves to win. Fuck Spider-Man. Fuck Elemental. Fuck the boy and the heroine.
Fuck Elemental. I agree.
Heroin.
No, I'm kidding.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
I'm being a hater. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, baby. It should be the winner.
Yeah. Teenage
If
Mutant Ninja
it
Turtles.
gets snubbed like the Lego.
Listen, it's been getting a
Batman,
ton of nominations up
I'm
until
gonna
this
get
point.
so mad if it gets
I don't
snubbed
think it
like
will.
Lego.
No, I don't
Batman.
think it will.
I don't
I don't think it will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now for this fifth choice here, we got a couple of interesting options. So we don't have a Netflix animated movie that's in there this year, and so far Netflix has not.
Yeah, wait, yeah.
We do.
Well,
You go ahead, Kristen.
I was gonna say
we collectively have not picked a Netflix movie, but we have options here. We have Nimona and we have Chicken
that's
Run,
what I was gonna
Dawn of
say.
the Nugget. We also have Suzume, we have Robot Dreams, but the big glaring one is, and for me the big question is, will Super Mario Brothers get the nomination?
That's my pick.
Will that get the nomination? Because
That's
here's the thing. Well, here's the thing that I want to bring up, right? Obviously, yes, Super Mario Brothers, like I believe the highest grossing animated movie of the year, one of the highest grossing movies of the year, like box office smash hit to say the least. The Oscars do not like Illumination. They do not like Illumination at all. Outside of the Despicable Me movies, they have not nominated a single Illumination movie. Right. So that is the big question: is but they also do like to reward box office hits. They do like to reward box office hits. So that's where I'm torn on Super Mario. Because any other year, I would be like, yes, fuck the Illumination movie. It's going to be Nimona, right? And because they have done a Netflix movie of the last couple of years, right? They had Over the Moon in 2020. They had, it started in 2019. They had Klaus in 2019. They had And I Lost My Body in 2019. They had Over the Moon in 2020. They had Mitchell vs. Machines in 2021. And then Pinocchio won last year. So that's where I'm torn right now, is between Nimona or Super Mario Brothers. Those to me. Pneumonia.
Well, I will say, don't be surprised if Robot Dreams snags that surprise
I could
nomination.
expect that. I was just gonna say, not surprising.
Have you seen it?
I've heard a lot about it. I almost got a ticket to go see it one time, and I just didn't put my money on it. But do you know what? I've been hearing a lot about it, and I was thinking that one could sneak in.
Well, I guess just my other thought. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
I do see the Academy picking over Dustin, I hate to say this, picking over Teenage or Super Mario Brothers. They're going to pick one or the other. I could see that happening.
So you think
I think that one's a lock.
Yeah,
okay.
But that would be a shame, though.
I think Turtles is a lock.
Besmirch my
Turtles
movie.
could. Turtles is the better film, though. I will admit.
I know.
Dustin, don't make me play the clip again. I will.
I know.
No, I was going to say,
right.
though, Robot Dreams is such a delightful movie and extremely moving, and actually says a lot about relationships, which I wasn't expecting with a movie about an inanimate robot and a dog. But it really is phenomenal. So it's a bit of a long shot, but it could get in there.
Yeah. Well, I guess just kind of what's also interesting about the animated feature race this year is this is, to me, the first year where I feel like they don't have to like sneak in an obscure foreign language choice because of how mainstream Miyazaki has become, right? I feel like the Miyazaki movies used to have that spot back when like you had The Wind Rises and all the other Ghibli movies getting nominated. But because of how mainstream Ghibli has become in the last couple of years, right? I feel like we don't have that because Boy and the Heron, I would argue, was one of the most mainstream animated movies of the year, which I feel like you can't really say about the last couple of Ghibli movies.
The Academy does go for a lot of those independent, like kind of international animated movies like Ernest and Celestine and like back, what was that movie? The Illusionist or something?
Oh,
The Illusionist.
Yeah. Okay, that was it. All right.
Yeah, The Illusionist. Cat in Paris is one that I remember. The Triplets of Belleville is one. Like, they do like rewarding those types of movies.
So like maybe Suzumi gets in or like Robot Dreams, but like
I was gonna say Suzumi has.
But I guess just because
I don't see Second Run getting in. I don't get that.
I guess just because the last year, if you look at last year's animated feature race, and really, I think the last 2 years, I think we didn't really have that insert, right? Because last year, right, it was the Sea Beast, the Netflix movie. You had Marcel the Shell, Puss in Boots, and I can't remember what the other choice, and then Turning Red for the Pixar insert. And then the year before, you had the two Disney movies. You have Encanto, which wins. You have Raya and the Last Dragon. You have Mitchell's versus the Machines. You have what's it called? You have Flea, which is the animated documentary, and then what's the other one from 2021 that I'm missing?
They nominated Persepolis too. That was
Persepolis was the one, was a big one.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was 07. Yeah. So who knows? So what are we picking for our fifth one?
Super Mario Brothers.
I don't think it's gonna happen. No.
I would love to say something crazy and say either Suzumi or Robot Dreams, honestly.
My counter to Suzume is they didn't nominate Makoto Shinkai for Your Name, which is one of the best movies of the 2010s. So I don't think that they're going to do it for Suzume. That would be my prediction.
So if we have to pick an obscure one,
they don't nominate everyone's best work though. Like Dominic and I always talk about stuff like, so they might nominate Suzume just on that.
So if we're gonna go with an obscure choice, so we're gonna go with Robot Dreams, or we're gonna go. So it's Robot Dreams.
I'll go with Robot Dreams delightfully.
If they can release it worldwide, Neon's about to bank in some money after that.
All right, got it. So we'll go with the fifth choice. Who knows if it'll get nominated? So our 5 for animated feature: Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and Robot Dreams. Now, going on to Best Director. This is an interesting category because this is one category that I thought after the DGAs were announced was completely locked up. But then I forgot about one thing. Which is the foreign choice. They have been doing this since 2018. They have been giving the fifth spot to a foreign choice. It started with Paolo Pawlikowski in 2018 for Cold War. Nathaniel, I remember because you and I were in college at that time. And we remember that was kind of a surprise nomination.
It was a huge surprise.
That it continued the following year.
That's a good movie, though.
Yeah. That it continued the following year with Bong Joon-ho, who wins for Parasite. Then the following year, you have Thomas Vinterberg for Cold War. Then after that, you have Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. And then last year, even though this is primarily an English language movie, it technically was inserted as a foreign language film, Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness, which to me is still an absolutely ridiculous nomination that never should have happened.
Yes, I agree.
I
agree.
Over Damien Chazelle and Mark Mylod, it's absolutely ridiculous to me. But
Damien Chazelle, especially.
So we'll get the 4 big ones out of the way, the 4 locks. So Nathaniel, we're down to you now. So what's your choice? So who are you throwing in first of the 4 locks?
Okay.
You know who I'm throwing in? I'm actually throwing in Jonathan Glazer for the Zone.
Really? So you're getting the controversial choice out of the way already.
I think as much as Nolan is going to win, I think that this is the best directed movie of the year. I think this is some of the most innovative filmmaking I've seen in such a long time. It reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey in the best ways possible. It's so experimental in all the right ways, but every single frame of this movie is painstakingly shot and cut together. This is really an auteuristic vision if I've ever seen one. And I think he's still going to get in regardless. And I really don't think that he should miss either. So I have to put Jonathan Glazer right at the top.
Interesting. So we're knocking out Payne immediately because, like I said, Alexander Payne has been
I don't know
scoring
about
now.
that.
Well, here's the
we
thing,
don't
right?
know, though.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. If it's Glazer and Payne both in, who does that knock out?
I know who.
You?
I know
Oh,
him,
really?
too.
So you think
Greta
Greta?
Gerwig.
Really?
Wow.
She didn't get the
I'm with
map.
him on this.
So there might be
Yeah.
justice
she
in the
didn't.
world.
The
There might be
point-
justice in the world. But remember, they made such a big stink about the fact that there wasn't a female director nominated
There's going to
last
be
year.
a controversy regardless.
I don't know if they
right.
would let that happen 2 years in a row. But no, I'm with you there because again, Payne, other than downsizing, Alexander Payne has not missed nominations for his last couple of movies before downsizing because he got it for Sideways, he got it for The Descendants, and he got it
exactly.
for Nebraska. So
Okay.
as for my-
However,
Yes.
I was going to say if they don't have a female one, they got to nominate at least a female because I know there will be controversy. It'll be Greta or Celine Strong.
right.
No,
Or,
Justin Trier.
Justin
There you
Trier.
go.
Yeah.
Or Justin
It's
Trier.
gonna be
the
Exactly.
most
I was just going to say
It's
I
gonna be
love
her.
Absolutely.
out of all
I
the
hope.
female
I hope.
directors this year, Justine is the best.
Absolutely,
I-
absolutely.
Trier.
But-
100%.
She's
Yeah.
the foreign nominee this year. I don't think it's going to be
I
Glazer.
would-
Sorry.
Mhm.
Really? So you think it's
I-
going to be
yeah,
Justin
I-
Trier?
I
Even
agree
though-
with Dustin.
Yeah,
He's a
but
better
yeah.
shot.
Does
He's a
Justin
better
Trier
shot.
have any preliminaries, though, is the thing. Does she have any preliminaries?
Maybe one.
Yeah, but she has like the female card too, and she's like in an acclaimed. She directed an acclaimed movie.
But
Right.
here's the
She
here's
just
the
won
counter
2
argument,
of the Golden Globes, like, for
Right.
best
Yeah,
foreign
that
film,
is true.
and she won the screenplay. But that doesn't mean like she'll get nominated for best screenplay, though. But that we're not
Right.
talking
Well,
about.
no,
I think she's a
that's
lock for
for sure.
screenplay.
She
I
might
think
have
she's
Yeah.
a lock for
she has a
screenplay
shot
for
at
sure.
Screenplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Or
think that what
director
happens is
could
I
be
think that
good
what happens is
screenplay.
they give it to Glazer, and because she misses
Yeah.
director, they give her she has the lock for screenplay as
Yeah.
a compensation.
I agree. And
Okay.
also Glazer has been around for so long.
Right.
So many people love him. This is like her first big movie that they love. But you look at Glazer's back catalog, and a lot of people love all his other movies. So I think it's time to honor him too. So I think he
Okay.
has that
Yeah.
more in his favor than Justine Trier
Yeah.
being a woman. I
Also, still kind of insane that this is only Glazer's 4th movie,
Yeah.
which is wild when you think about that.
Yeah.
Right.
But so yeah, my choice. Yeah, I'm gonna continue the Nolan Dick Riding train. I've been but I mean, here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about it. Right, I have been calling that Nolan was gonna win his Best Picture and Director this year since before Oppenheimer came. I want to say since the first trailer came out. I know people are all like, "Oh, he's gonna win for sure now," and he is. But I just wanted to put it out there that I have literally been calling this since fucking the first trailer dropped back in 2022.
He
'Cause I'm
deserves
like,
it,
not
too.
only does he
Yeah,
deserve it,
he
but it
does.
checks all the boxes, right? It's a biopic / courtroom drama about a very important person in history. Like, it's literally like, this is about as gimme an Oscar as you could possibly get,
But
besides
it's
the
actually
fact
great.
that it is arguably that it might be his best movie
It is very
since
good.
The Dark Knight. Like, it's
Yeah.
still ridiculous to me. He he didn't even get nominated for Inception, or Dark Knight, which is wild in hindsight.
Yeah,
Nothing for
Dark Knight.
Interstellar.
Mhm.
The fact that Dunkirk was his first Best Director nomination really feels, even
Insane.
as good as that
It's
movie is a
baffling,
slap
honestly.
in the face in hindsight. So I just wanted to give that section to the fact that, like, yeah, this is not only the most obvious no doy nomination and surefire win, but like how they've done this man, arguably the best modern working director. Not legacy like Scorsese, in terms of blockbuster standpoints. Like, it has to be Nolan. All right,
Mhm.
Dustin, who's your choice?
I love Christopher Nolan, like Dominic, but it's sad that he's getting a director win before Tarantino.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's very depressing for me. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with Alexander Payne because
Mm.
I love that movie. He's gotten in 3 other times in this category, which is awesome. And it's also arguably deserved all of the times. So, like, why not keep giving him them? And to me, he'd be my personal pick for the winner this year because I just think his handling of tone is just sort of just unparalleled. Honestly, he's one of the best modern day directors, controversy or not, but he directed the hell out of that movie. And he has the precursors to back that up, and he got the DGA nom and he got like the BAFTA nom. So like I think, and like I said, he has the 3 prior noms for best director for Descendants, Nebraska, and Sideways, which is it's crazy that that movie was nominated for best director but not best actor. That's
Yeah.
Don't even get
Tough
me
year.
started.
Tough year.
I know,
get
but that's
it.
crazy that he fit in that director race for 04 even. So that's that shows you how much they love him and his nostalgic sensibilities as a filmmaker. And I'm just glad that he's still in the race in spite of that controversial stuff that
Exactly. That's the thing too, is I didn't think, because remember, like I said, they kicked him off the menu, and I thought that he was done for that. So then when he makes a comeback this year, I was really impressed.
Yeah, what a comeback, huh?
Right? Yeah, comeback
Incredible.
of the year. All right, and then Kristen, round us out. Who are you putting in?
Oh, this is so tough. But I would love some directors I would love to see nominate are like Sean Durkin for Iron Claw.
Yes.
I think that movie was so incredibly well directed. And Craig Gillespie for Dumb Money. I thought that was so well put together with all the crazy stories.
Matt Johnson, Blackberry. He's number 23 on Gold Derby.
Ooh, that's higher than I would have thought.
You got the stats.
That's higher than I would have thought.
Matt Johnson directed the hell out of that movie.
And he's great in it too.
He's great. And that's his best performance and his most confidently and expertly directed film. So he deserved to be in this conversation. Sorry.
I know we talked about Greta. I'm wearing a Barbie shirt. I don't want to say Greta, and I would love to say Brad. No, wait, hold on. I would love to say Bradley Cooper too. But Yorgos for poor
There we go. I'm like, I knew you were gonna go Yorgos. I knew you were gonna go Yorgos.
He did such a great job adapting this universe. This is his film. This was his best work to date.
It's his best.
It's zany. It's fun. It's wild. It's dramatic. It's got everything going for it. And I would be so happy if he gets the recognition for it because it's so good. It's so good. Even though I would have loved to say Barbie right now, even though I don't think it's the best strong directing one out of all the ones I have written down on this list.
Yeah, the fact that the fact that Gerwig, I'll admit I wasn't the biggest fan of Little Women, but the fact that Gerwig has a stronger chance of getting nominated for Barbie over Little Women is kind of ridiculous to me in hindsight. All right, now this is tough because I will admit this did not go the way that I was expecting. I thought that we were gonna have. I thought that one of us was gonna pick Scorsese, but no, Glazer, Nolan, Payne, and Lanthimos. So. Are we going the easy choice and we put Scorsese for the fifth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right. I just want to
make we're really writing Greta off and Justine Triet off that quickly. Okay.
I would have loved to say Justine too.
I mean, it's Marty.
It's Marty.
Like Marty.
I'd love to see her get nominated, but
we're not talking wins. We're talking nominations.
I know, but he's not going to win over Nolan.
Obviously, he's not winning over Nolan. He will be nominated. He is one of the surefire locks to be nominated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick thing before we move on. Do any of y'all see potential in Bradley Cooper being nominated?
For director? No.
Absolutely.
No, I do not.
But it would be a long shot. It would be a long shot.
I do not. I think that ever since the DGAs were announced and they officially, they're doing exactly what they did for him for Star is Born. They're putting all their power behind him for actor and screenplay and the movie itself, and they're not honoring him for director, which I personally, I don't know. I mean, I'm back and forth on that all the time as far as because I really did like Maestro, even though
I did too. It was one of my favorites.
Even though it was very much a give me an Oscar type of movie, but I did really enjoy it. All right, here we are. The big one. Let's see. Should we do the easy one of these first, or should we for the two lead categories? Should we do the easy one first or the difficult one?
Easy one first.
All right, let's get the easy one out of the first. Wait, first best actor. Yeah, we all know who the 5 is going to be. It's been locked up since I would say the SAGs, pretty much. Like it would be pretty easy. Now I'm going to go a different route this time since it's back to me. I'm not going to go with the obvious choice. I'm not going to continue the Nolan Dick writing train, even though Cillian Murphy was my favorite performance of the year. I'm going different, and I am actually going with Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. And I'll tell you why. For a couple reasons. Number one, right, this is the underdog choice of the year. This is the choice that, again, legacy actor, been working in Hollywood for a long time, but has not really had the chance to show off his lead capabilities. Also, I believe another one who has never been nominated before. Number two, the fact that the fact that this is one of those movies that kind of came out of nowhere. This kind of pulled the Silver Linings Playbook where it won the audience choice at TIFF, and next thing you know, everybody was talking about what a really, really great movie this was. And then the first trailer dropped, and it's just a fast moving momentum. So by the time this movie finally hits theaters, it's like boom. And the fact that, again, this is also a little bit of a controversial choice because as Dustin and I have talked about, Cord Jefferson, the director and writer of this movie, has made some comments that are a little bit confusing to say the least when promoting this movie. But I think, but all of that regardless aside, again, I think that I think for all those reasons, besides the fact that Jeffrey Wright gives one of the most layered and nuanced performances of the year, the fact that again this is a movie that by all rights would have been a straight up farce if directed by anybody else, but the fact that this movie does go a lot deeper and a lot more introspective than I give credit for, this is kind of low key one of my favorite performances of the year, even though I don't know if it's one of like the best. So yeah, I'm going Jeffrey Wright. All right, Dustin, over to you. Who you picking?
Paul Giamatti.
Yep, I had a feeling.
Paul Giamatti should win. He deserves to win, and it's one of the best, most heartbreaking, and just cool performances I've seen this year. I really hope the actors branch gives him the SAG and gives him the edge going into the Oscars.
This is a chance for him to win his Oscar for Big Fat Liar.
Yeah,
Sideways.
Sideways, exactly.
Yeah, but the Big Fat Liar thing is a really big answer. All right, Kristen, who's your choice?
Oh gosh, there's some good ones I want to say here, but F it, I'm gonna cop on that Nolan train now.
Oh, you're going Cillian. You're going Cillian.
Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Honest to God, I think it's gonna come down to Cillian or Paul for who's gonna get it for this award. Maybe Jeffrey could win.
I don't think I could see potentially a Bradley Cooper upset, but I think it's between Giamatti and Murphy.
I was so sure. Like I thought Coleman Domingo was gonna win for Rustin for it. Because I've seen a lot of praise for it and knowing he's been like a veteran actor for a long time. But Cillian, oh my gosh, he's just so good. And Oppenheimer, he is the best part.
And that's another one where, again, that's very similar to Downey. That is also a legacy choice, but he's had a strong there. Where again, been working for Nolan forever, only in supportive performances. Finally gets a lead, finally gets a chance to show. Again, been acting forever, but finally gets to show off like his leading man capabilities. Again, after doing however many years on Peaky Blinders.
Mm-hmm. And he's just so likable too. From all this interviews, talk about Oppenheimer, I just find him to be more and more likable and being like, all right, I just give him the award.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright is the underdog, but I think this is I understand where Dustin's coming from, and I am very inclined to go Giamatti because again, he's also a very very long legacy one. But I mean, to me, this category is Cillian's to lose. I think. All right, Nathaniel, your choice.
Well, I will say Cillian and Paul, it's going to be tough. As Dustin said, let's see what happens with SAG. I have to give this to my man here because as soon as I saw this performance at TIFF, I was like, this is probably my favorite lead performance by a male actor. That's Coleman Domingo in Rustin. And I absolutely think that he will get nominated just because all the goodwill. I mean, he's just one of those guys where I'm like, if I meet him someday, and when I do, I'm going to be like, can I just give you a hug, man? He seems like such a great guy. He's like, as he says, the equity deputy, always looking out for everybody. On top of the fact that he's been giving so many amazing supporting turns for the past decade. And Color Purple as well. I think he was deserving to get nominated for that. He most likely won't. But this is the one I think he has the best shot. It's everything you want from an Oscar-nominated performance. It's bombastic. It's absolutely so charismatic. He just bounces off the screen in all the best ways, but it's a very emotionally tasking role. It's very transformative. And when I watch this, I don't see Coleman Domingo. I really don't. And I think for all those reasons and the fact that, between this and Color Purple, he's been having one of the best years along with Sandra Hüller and Bradley Cooper. I think he's going to get in over DiCaprio. I'm just going to throw it out there right now because I know what we're all thinking. And he'd be more than deserving to win, even though I know he won't. He just needs to be nominated. All right, that's all I'm asking for this year.
Just follow up with your comment. I'm very excited to see him in this movie called Sing Sing.
Yes,
that's supposed to be coming out later on this year.
Yeah. Man, I had a chance to see that early the other weekend. I couldn't go because of rehearsal. I was so fucking mad. I wanted to see it so badly. I was like, oh man.
Everyone saying he could win for that.
Yeah, that would get a lot of good praise. A24 set up a killer year
one of the screenwriters about a year ago, and this was just like happening, and then it was just being filmed. And it's just funny how it's Greg Quedar, if you look it up. He's done a really great other movie, but just commenting on that, I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in this. So Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I just like
Yeah,
so
no,
biggest A24 movie, like
I'm
between
excited too.
Love Lies Bleeding, Sing Sing, I Saw the TV Glow, and Y2K. Like 2024 could low key be another like pretty spectacular A24 year.
before you.
It's already
Yeah.
a spectacular year, but that's for
Yeah.
another
All right. Yeah. All right. And
conversation.
then our fifth choice. Now here's the big one, right? Are we going Bradley or are we going DiCaprio?
Bradley.
For this fifth choice?
Bradley.
All right.
Cooper.
All right.
He's
I
getting
just had
it.
to be fair.
However, I wanted
Super
to make
duper Bradley Cooper.
could Barry Hogan sneak in there.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't.
It's
I
only
I
think that,
six.
no, because I think that if Saltburn wasn't as divisive as it was, it would have a better chance. But Saltburn is so divisive.
It is, and I he was nominated last year too for whatchamacallit,
For Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees, yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
oh, okay. I just was
I don't
curious to
think
see
there's
what you guys
any.
think.
All right, so just for surprise, absolutely nobody's surprised at all. Our 5-4 best actor are Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, Paul Giamatti for The Holdover, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, and Bradley Cooper for Maestro, which will almost certainly be our best actor lineup. Now, guys, here's where we get interesting.
Oh,
Best
boy.
actress. So again, another one where, like, again, we've got a few locks for this category, but really anything could go. Because like I said, there's like, I believe there's a total of like 8 revolving people that this could go to potentially. So Dustin, starting with you, who's your first choice for best actress?
Sandra Hüller of Anatomy of a Fall.
Yay.
Great. And she deserves it. And she probably won't win, but I think she's going to get nominated.
Yes.
100%.
I think winner
absolutely agree.
Really Gladstone and Emma Stone, but no, this was again a revelatory performance for sure. Revelatory performance, revelatory movie. It's the thing that I've been saying is like the reason why the foreign language films are like getting so interesting is because they're finally doing what like has made like American movies great for like the last 20, 30 years that American movies just aren't doing. So the foreign language films are basically taking, okay, we can take these like American movies that you just have decided to ignore and not make anymore. We're just gonna make them as awesome as humanly possible. Because the fact that this is like the most one of the most compelling movies of the year, and it's largely a courtroom drama that's carried by just incredible performances is insane to me. So yeah, excellent first choice. All right, Kristen, what's your choice?
I gotta say, Emma Stone. I love that actress so much. I stan her, loved her for years. This is her chance to earn her second Oscar. I think she is the Meryl Streep of our generation. She's just good, I feel like, in everything she does. She always surprises me. And this is just another chance for her to earn her flowers. So Emma Stone. And she's wild and poor things. She's so good.
It's the most bombastic that she's been in a while, and she just fucking owns every single section of it. It's incredible.
And it just shows the character growth with that film and as an actress. Oh god, she can do it all in that film. She's so good.
It's so spectacular. Like this is again the hard some of the hardest laughs that I've gotten all year in a theater. What even though this is Dustin, what must always have a gun, you know?
Yeah,
always.
exactly.
All right, Nathaniel, what's your choice?
I gotta go with it. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. This is the fact that she not only outshined DiCaprio but also De Niro says a lot. And you know, and I still wish that they gave her more to do in the movie. But the impact that she leaves on the narrative just through her facial expressions, like literally her silence says everything. And I just think the physical transformation she goes through as well is so unbelievably compelling. I have always said if you can convince me you are sick in a movie, like physically, that is some of the most impressive acting there will ever be. And I know we'll probably talk about that with someone else who will probably be nominated, but this is a for sure lock. Some people say she could win, but after seeing the BAFTAs, even though I don't care about them, I think this is Emma Stone's Oscar to lose, rightfully so. But Lily Gladstone seems like such a wonderful, beautiful person as well. On top of it, there's a lot of goodwill going towards her. She'd be the first Indigenous woman nominated for a leading Oscar. And I think that this is going to be a historic night for her. And I'm absolutely, she's getting nominated.
All right, and then rounding out my four, the main four for the obvious ones, I'm going Carey Mulligan.
Yes,
I'm going Carey Mulligan. Listen, as much as I want Natalie Portman, to be nominated so badly, so fucking badly.
So I don't think that's happening.
I don't see it happening either.
She hasn't gotten a single precursor.
I was hoping you were going to do Margot.
No.
That's what I was gonna
No,
say.
no.
Yeah, this is going to
think
be
that
tough.
I think that she's no because I think Margot is one of the locks. I don't
Yeah.
think Margot's
Yes,
missing.
she's-
I really don't. She's gotten
I
every
don't
one of the
think so.
precursors. So I figured she would just be like our universal vote. I'm going Carey Mulligan because Carey Mulligan to me again like everyone is. It's so funny because when all my friends saw Maestro, they all kind of thought it was just okay, but they really were praising Carey Mulligan.
Yeah,
I saw,
she's the best
and then,
part.
but then the tide kind of turned, and overall, everybody seemed to be praising Bradley and like not talking about Carey as much. But like, this is a two-hander. Like, this movie doesn't work without her. I really don't think, like, because she carries such this delicate balance, right? Because I feel like without her, right, this movie ultimately would just be like the Leonard Bernstein, trying to conceal his homosexuality from everybody, and like but like she is kind of like the missing piece, the missing ingredient, where she's kind of the one that like gives him validation for this lifestyle that he lives. And it's any other instance, under any other like performance, this wouldn't work because it's like, wow, she's just basically just like essentially giving up her not her authority, but she's essentially sacrificing like the whole like that, like she's basically like giving into living a lie essentially. And like how you watch that like weigh on her and eventually break her literally at the end, when she very tragically dies, like, and the fact that Mulligan is able to carry that
scene.
all the way through. Yeah, that scene, it's heartbreaking. It really is. And like that scene alone, I'm like, fuck.
So compelling.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Yeah.
No, it has to be her. It has to be. So, and then our fifth choice, it's Margot, right?
I have to say though, if there was any justice in the world, Fantasia Barrino would be nominated.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
You were going to say that. I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah.
She was my sixth
But
choice.
Is there a chance of an upset for her?
There could be.
Small.
Because she did get the BAFTA nomination and she has the Golden Globe, but she hasn't been nominated for anything else. So,
but you can't predict otherwise because Margot Robbie has just gotten everything. So as much as I rather see her, that's just how it is.
It's hard not to see Margot not nominated.
Yeah, there's no way. Like I said, she's gotten a couple nominations at this point. Like this is
I said that last year for Babylon when she deserved it and she got snubbed.
Yeah, but Babylon got snubbed for almost everything except for technicals, so which is still ridiculous.
Which it still got snubbed for, but
right, and it didn't even win, which is insane.
It didn't even get nominated for cinematography, which is
which is a shame.
Don't even get me started. All right, so our 5 choices for Best Actor: Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall; Emma Stone, Poor Things; Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon; Carey Mulligan, Maestro; and Margot Robbie for Barbie. All right, now we've made it. The big one, the big finale, and this is going to be an interesting one because this could be the first year in a couple years where we are going to have the 10 movies that got nominated for the PGAs be our 10 movies that get nominated for Best Picture, which is kind of nuts to say the least. So, Kristen, starting with you, we're gonna do 2, right? Because we're getting 10 because they finally got back to okay, we're nominating 10 movies from here on out. We're not doing this bullshit back and forth 8 or 9 movies based on some sort of average that makes no sense. There's 10 movies that are getting nominated. So, Kristen, what are your 2 choices for Best Picture?
All right, right off the bat, I'm going to say one of my favorite films of the year, Poor Things of 2023. I think it's the greatest. I think it has a good chance of winning, but we all know at this point Oppenheimer is probably going to take it home because of how epic it is. It's, I'm going to say those 2. So Poor Things and Oppenheimer.
Poor Things and Oppenheimer, getting them out of the way immediately. And like I said, we know that Oppenheimer is the front runner and the favorite to win. Nathaniel, what are your 2 choices?
Well, I will go with the obvious. This is my least favorite of the Best Picture lineup, and that's Barbie, though I did enjoy the movie overall. The fact that this is the weakest one this year, in my opinion at least, I think says a lot to this lineup and how great it is overall. And for my second one, I'm going to do what I did earlier, and I'm going to throw in Zone of Interest.
Nice.
Because, yes, I mean, it's, as we said, it made PGA. For a movie like that, that's
impressive. That's impressive for PGAs, to say the least. Yeah.
So, I'm just going to throw it in there because I do think it is getting nominated.
Yeah, and what I'll say about Barbie as well, Barbie to me, like I said, it's the box office choice of the year. It's the Top Gun / Avatar all kind of combined into one movie of this year. Like the minute that stupid Barbenheimer fad happened over the summer, like I'm like, okay, both of these movies are getting nominated for Best Picture. My 2 choices, I am going with Killers of the Flower Moon because that's just getting in because it's Martin Scorsese. And I don't think that there will be a single Martin Scorsese movie that he makes going forward that will not be nominated. And then I am also going with Maestro, since that is one of, again, it's one of my favorites of the year, and it's Bradley Cooper's Give Me an Oscar movie, and it's a biopic. It checks off all the boxes. It's got the LGBTQ angle. Yeah, Maestro, those are my 2 choices. Dustin, your 2 choices.
The Holdovers and Anatomy of a Fall.
Nice.
Good ones.
Yes, both solid locks as well. So that just leaves two choices. One we all know is a lock. One I'm not necessarily sure about, even though everybody has been going gaga over this. So I think we can all agree American Fiction is in. I think we can all agree on that one.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but
I didn't have that as mine.
really, you didn't have
No,
so,
not in my top 10.
Really? Well, your top 10 or your top 10 for predictions?
For top 10 for predictions.
Really? What did you have?
I have Past Lives.
Yep.
Right. Well, that was going to be the other one that I was going to talk about.
And I have The Color Purple.
Really? So you have The Color Purple getting in?
I just
Okay.
feel like it's just.
What about Air?
No.
No.
That's dead. That's dead. Tucked
Air's
in.
not getting
It's
in.
done.
Air was very good, but I don't see it. I remember, like, what was it, last spring we were talking about, oh, this is going to be nominated. It's very good, but I just don't think. Oh, and I would have said Viola Davis for supporting, but Past Lives and The Color Purple, I think I was shot in
Interesting.
there.
I mean, if my upset that I would want would be Spider-Verse to get in. I would definitely want Spider-Verse to get in. Yeah. But for right now, like my two choices for the last, like I said, I think it's American Fiction and Past Lives are the two that are getting in for those two choices.
American
with you.
Fiction and Air.
I'm with you with American Fiction and Past Lives, because as much as I love The Color Purple, one of my favorite movies of the year, it's not as, people compare it to the original and they don't like it as much, and it's been missing a lot of precursors. I just don't think it has enough goodwill to put it over Zone of Interest, though I do agree it is probably number 11. I have yet to see Zone of Interest. I wrote that down as in my top 10.
I wish they were playing it near me, but they aren't, because it's
the next weekend they should be getting it.
Is it like nationwide?
So they've said,
Okay,
so
hopefully.
All
right.
Yep. Yeah, I saw Zone of Interest at the IFC Center. At the Angelica Film Center here back in December, and it was that was a crazy experience. At 11 o'clock in the morning, that was a crazy experience.
It must have been an experience at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
For that
it was. Oh, listen, I had some of the worst popcorn I've ever had. Some of the absolute worst shits that I've ever had to take after a movie. I made poor Gal wait like half an hour to start that podcast. It was not good. It was not good. But the movie itself was great.
I watched it with Glazer in the room, so that was
Wait, really?
Oh, wow.
That's right. You saw it at TIFF. That's right. That's awesome. Is he as weird and as ethereal as I think that he is, or is he just like a low key chill guy?
He seems like a low key chill guy. I didn't stay around for the whole Q&A as much as I wanted to, but no, he seems pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. So, Dustin, any other movies you want to shout out that you think could potentially upset for Best Picture?
All of Us Strangers, or maybe May December, or Iron Claw.
Yeah,
I would love to see Iron Claw.
I would love to see the universe where Iron Claw and May December get in over Barbie and even honestly Maestro, even though I love that movie. So, or in this case, Past Lives. But I would love to see that universe where those two would get in.
All of Us Strangers, so good.
But we're decided the last two choices is going to be American Fiction and Past Lives.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll agree with this. Okay.
All right.
Fuck Past Lives, but okay.
No.
Yeah, I'll agree. I felt depressed after watching that last night because I just watched it and I just sat there like.
Yeah, it was depressing.
Yeah, it was a depressing movie to say the least. All right, so with that being said, our choices for the 10 for Best Picture are Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Barbie, The Zone of Interest, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, The Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, American Fiction, and Past Lives.
Air.
If only Air would get. What if Air does get in and just upsets
Dude,
everything?
I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard.
That would be hilarious.
I'm gonna send you the message. I'm gonna be like, bah!
Yeah, you're gonna just be like, it finally happened. It did. It happened. All right, people. Like I said, this just proves that, again, I got the best for when it comes to predicting this stuff. Either that or it just shows that the Oscars have become really, really predictable in their nominations. I would love to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. And we'll like I said, we'll see you guys on Tuesday morning to see how many of our nominations stand. I think that a very, very large portion of them will. But with that being said, thank you all for joining me on tonight's crazy episode as always. I'm going to start in the opposite direction. Starting with Nathaniel again, my brother from the Great White North. Where can the good people follow you on the interwebs?
Well, you can follow me right here on YouTube at Nathaniel A. Hart. And if you want to see, Tuesday I will be posting my reactions, not live reactions to the nominations, but my thoughts on the nominations themselves. And it's going to be a very in-depth, very interesting discussion. Of course, you can find all the movie reviews and all the music stuff I do on the channel as well. And you can follow me at Nathaniel _A. Hart on Instagram, X or Twitter or what have you. All the platforms you can think of.
Yes, Kristen, happy to have you on as always. Like I said, you've become so much more than someone who we met during the harsh months of COVID. You have become, like I said, a true dear friend now that we have actually met in person. Like I said, I will never forget us seeing Dumb Money together. Where can the good people follow you on the interwebs?
All I can say is hell yeah. But yeah, you can all follow me on Instagram at Miss Flamingo. I'm everywhere. I co-host a podcast, the MNK Productions Podcast, with my best friend Mac. Shout out to Mac. And yeah, follow me on all my socials are plugged in on my Instagram. So thanks for having me, and happy Oscar season.
Oh yes, happy Oscar season indeed. And of course, again, Dustin the Duster Mason, my guy forever. Where can the good people follow you on the interwebs?
You can follow me on youtube.com/Mr. G Movie Reviews. You can follow me on Letterboxd, Dustin Mason. You can follow me on Twitter. Not
X?
Not X.
Not X.
Don't say it. I don't even acknowledge.
Don't you mean X?
I said it reluctantly. Okay.
I think everybody that says it reluctantly.
No.
Oh man. And of course, you guys can follow me and everything going on at Movie Nerd Reviews across all platforms, at Official Talkin TV Podcasts across all platforms. Subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. This episode will be available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts tomorrow morning. And as always, people, 12 seasons in a short film, and watch more fucking movies. We'll see you guys at the Oscars and next week for Masters of the Air. Ninja Turtles for life.